You see, having the peace of God doesn't mean our problems are going to go away. It really doesn't. Or that our circumstances are actually going to change, or even that we will get the answer that we want to something. But what it does mean is that the churning inside of our hearts and our mind will be replaced by a calm confidence that simply does not make sense. Our confidence comes from the fact that our lives and our future are in the loving and capable and merciful hands of Jesus, who is good. And Jesus does good. And he is never, ever going to leave us or forsake us. You know, I love John chapter 14, verse 27. Jesus said, "Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid." In John 14:1, Jesus said, "Don't let your heart be troubled. Believe in God, believe also in me." You know, from these verses, we can see that peace is a really big deal to Jesus, because he knows how much you and I need peace. Because if the enemy takes our peace, then he gets our heart. Jesus is saying to every single one of us, don't give your heart permission to freak out. We have authority when it comes to our heart. We do not need to get all up in our feelings and let our heart and mind spiral out of control. Do not lose your peace over something that you can do nothing about. Take everything to God, who is the only one that can do something about everything. I want you to hear that. Only God can do something about everything. The reality is that, listen, storms will always come. Sometimes they're relational storms. Sometimes they're financial storms. Sometimes they're emotional storms or physical storms or environmental storms or internal storms. But make no mistake, every single one of us, every person watching this broadcast right now is either about to go into a storm right now, or is in the middle of a storm, or is coming out of a storm. I bet you feel encouraged right now. But listen, it's the way it always is. We're either going into one, we're in the middle of one, or we're coming out of one. It's part of living in a fallen world. These people that just tell you that, man, life is just one big up and to the right, always seamless and easy, that's not the world that we live in. We live in a broken world and a fallen world. Storms are a part of life. So we need, you and I, we need to learn to be disciplined enough in the middle of a storm to be able to ignore the storm. And that only happens when we take everything to God and when we leave God. The issue is trusting that God is working on our behalf. You know, I recently had something happen that could have sent me spiraling all over again. But I decided that I was going to take Paul's advice in the book of Philippians instead of freaking out. So I prayed about this very situation, and listen, this thing normally would have kept me up all night. I would have just been ruminating, and anyone that knows me, I would have just been obsessively ruminating about this thing. And I remember going downstairs to Nick, and I said, you know what, Nick? This is the deal. I have prayed about this issue, and I've given it to God. So basically, the Bible says that God never slumbers or never sleeps. So because God never sleeps or slumbers, there is no point both of us staying awake. So I am going to go to bed. And I just was like, I was going up the stairs and I said to Nick, well, and if you see the devil, tell him I'm going to bed. I am not going to allow the enemy to steal my peace. I'm not going to allow him to rob me of my joy. I have given this to God. I slept so soundly that night, and the only way that I can explain what happened is that the peace of God that surpassed all understanding. There is no natural reason why I should have slept through that whole thing. But the peace of God, and it surpasses all understanding. It guarded my heart in the night. Right now, listen, so much in our lives just does not make sense. And what we have to learn to do is trust in the goodness of God, trust in the faithfulness of God, give things over to God and say, you know what, sometimes your mind's going to say to you, well, because you're not worrying about it, it means you don't really care about that thing. If you really care about that thing, put it in the hands of the one that cares even more and allow him to do something. It makes people nervous when you don't worry. It makes people nervous when you just leave things at the feet of Jesus.
Please, if you love this video, kindly subscribe, like, comment, and share to family and friends. Thank you very much.